Hey guys, it's time for the midweek lift. This week we're in 1 Corinthians 15. And I got to tell you, there's some days I'm not sure I'm a Christian. Now that might sound like a crazy statement, but doubt is a natural part of life. I believe that God built us with doubt, to doubt, in order to drive us deeper in our faith. And when I was in college especially, I hit some serious walls of doubt that made me question whether I really believed, whether I trusted the Bible, whether I thought that these stories were true. But some of the things that have helped me through that in the year anchor me back into one particular aspect of the Gospels, and that's the resurrection. The Gospels, the Bible, is a trustworthy document. It's not really doubted. Any scholar will tell you that what the Bible that we have in front of us says is the same thing that was written 2,000 years ago, and it was written by the people who claimed to write it. Now, whether they were telling the truth, that becomes a matter of logic and faith. The logic is that if hundreds of people saw Jesus raised from the dead and died deaths, terrible deaths because of it, it must be true. Why would they die if it was a lie? Why would they die and not a single person recant, which in historically none of the early Christians recanted. So why would they do that? And even more importantly than the fact that these people had seen that Jesus raised from the dead, had seen him die, raised from the dead, and they testified to it, is also equally important the fact that what would Jesus' motivation have been if he was starting a religious movement? Why would he have gone to his death? Why would he have willingly let himself be killed, still all the way to his death, proclaiming? Nobody denies that all the way to Jesus' death, he claimed to be who he says he was. The Jews at the time didn't even deny it. So why would he do that? Would he be a liar? A lunatic? A legend that was made up? Or is he Lord of all? Well, it wasn't a legend. We know that's true. It was counted in a census. There are records outside of the Bible of his life and death. What liar would die for something they knew was a lie? And how could he convince 500 people to die for what they knew was a lie? If he was a lunatic, maybe he would die for it. But again, why would all these people go to their death if they knew he was crazy? If they hadn't seen him raised from the dead? If they knew it was a lie of the resurrection? So for me, when I encounter doubts, when I encounter struggles, I've got to go back to the resurrection. Because I can't get around those 500 people. I can't get around those early Christians who died terrible, awful deaths saying, no, I really saw the resurrected Christ. People who gave up everything for something they believed was true. One or two people might be a little screw loose, but hundreds of them? I just don't buy it. And why would Jesus die for something that was lying? And why do we see so much truth in his words? And why do we see what he said would happen continue to happen again and again in history? So the resurrection is the key. So in 1 Corinthians 15, Paul says, hey, if you don't believe that we're going to be resurrected, if you don't believe that Jesus was resurrected, then what are we doing? We're fools, right? Because if there's no resurrection, then everybody should be out for their own. Everybody should just be trying to cover their own bases, get as much money as you can, enjoy life as much as you can. Why are we doing any of this if it's not for the resurrection? But the truth is, Jesus did die. That's a historical fact. He was raised from the dead, which is logically, you can't argue with what happened. He's the greatest. His death and resurrection sparked the greatest movement in the history of the world. It's changed the world more than anything else. Because people were willing to stake their life on what they had seen, what they had touched, what they had heard, that they knew Jesus had resurrected. The resurrection happened. And if the resurrection happened, boy, it should be easy to believe that there was a Noah's Ark, or that Jonah got swallowed by a whale, or that God could providentially hand his Bible throughout time to us. The other things are easy, because if Jesus raised from the dead, he was who he said he was, and he did what he said he was going to do. This has been a little bit longer Words of Grace midweek lift, but I hope you've enjoyed it.